My own worry is on the government side. Please, as you task people to this extent, let us have things that will show that government is working. If you provide an enabling environment, people will not be pained to pay tax. Someone will ask, why are tax practitioners charging higher when you approach them these days? Of course, you also need to realize that when you go to the tax authority itself to represent yourself, you would also have to pay higher, usually much higher, because the tax authority now has access to a process that is called data mining. So on their own, they already know what your turnover is. The only turnover they may not have is the one you received in cash. But as far as money that entered into your account is, they know it. So if you're limited liability, the National Revenue Service will tell you how much money that entered into all your accounts. They use your RC number for limited liabilities or your state, your corporate enterprise. They also use the equivalent of it to get it. Then for you as an individual, they use your BVN. In fact, one of the worst mistakes you can do is to try to hide from tax by moving money to your personal account, because that one even makes it worse. The tax rate is higher, and the reliefs, those things, they say, okay, let's remove this one, let's remove that one. They don't really exist in for individuals when you operate with your individual name. So now that it's difficult for you to hide your real revenue from the tax authorities, that's when it has become very important that you are compliant, that you go on time and prove to them the real expenses that should be deducted from that money, so that your real tax is what you will pay and not something far higher. Of course, professionals understand better. The tax practitioners that you normally engage or as consultants or whatever to represent you, they understand better what items that can be lawfully removed. But in most cases, whatever revenue you have cannot be stated below half of what it is for certain reasons. It's usually around that half, between 40 to 70% of it that you can present. But it takes someone who understands the tax code very well to do that on your behalf. And this is the reason why your actual tax figure this time around is likely going to be higher than what it is. My own worry is on the government side. Please, as you task people to this extent, let us have things that will show that government is working. If you provide an enabling environment, people will not be pained to pay tax. If you come and you have 24 hours power supply, people do not need to start looking for alternative means of power. The road is smooth, there is security everywhere. People will pay with joy. Somebody who has a terminal disease can walk into a hospital and nobody will charge you anything because you are up to date with your tax. Who will complain? I just want to believe that this is where the system is headed. But please just know that this time around, the tax net is broad, it has an eagle eye, and there's very little opportunity to evade it going forward. Let's hold government responsible too for their own side. Remember, once again, I am Onyebuchi Magagudi, Financial Guru. Feel free to subscribe or follow us depending on where you're listening from. I hope to see you once again on another episode of What We Do. After, you must have liked or dropped a comment beneath what you viewed now. Thank you. Bye for now.